to say yesterday I felt like I was rich, and today that is not the case.
Slide into your mind so silky, up under the down we fly.
Hi guys, it's Tess, and this is my new rebranded channel, Tess Loves Books, where I post mainly book content and maybe a couple vlogs here and there, but mainly book content, and if I do post vlogs, it'll be book-related vlogs. I hope you guys stick around if you've been used to seeing my vlogs, and I hope I see a lot of new faces when I post this first video about my book content. If you haven't already, follow my book TikTok, which is Tess Loves Books, and I will have that linked down below, and also follow my Instagram to see cute pictures of me and my boyfriend, basically. Today I'm going to be doing a Barnes & Noble / Target haul and showing you guys the books that I have picked out for myself this month. I did some damage to my bank account, but don't worry, I am going to give you guys some tips on how to save money and be able to do even more damage and get more books, but you feel like it's different because you're saving money. The first tip that I have for you today is if you shop in America and you shop on Barnes & Noble or at Barnes & Noble in-store, and you find a book that you really like at the store, but you see that it's a different price online, or most of the time they are, and you ask the cashier at the register to price match it, it will take normally $1 to $5 off of each book. This has a really big effect on the hardcover books because I know for a fact that the hardcover books on the website are almost always on sale. Barnes & Noble only price matches to their website, but it still helps, and even $3 less is a lot more and could quite possibly sway you into buying another book. When I went yesterday, I bought mainly hardcover books and I saved about $10 just by asking if she would price match it. Another helpful tip that I have is to get a Barnes & Noble membership, and I know this sounds like a Barnes & Noble sponsorship, but it isn't. I just started a job at Barnes & Noble and I spend a lot of money on books, so I'm trying to find a way to save as much money as I can. A Barnes & Noble membership only costs $25 a year, and it gets you 10% off every purchase and 20% off bestseller hardcovers. Most of the time I haven't found any hardcover like bestseller books that I've loved that I wanted to get 20% off, but the extra 10% off is always a nice bonus because it basically makes the book like the price of the book without tax. So if you're expecting to spend $11 before tax, you're probably going to spend $11 if you get a Barnes & Noble membership. And I use it every time I go, so I've probably used it enough times to where I've made up the $25 in my savings. So that's really nice. So 2 helpful tips to help you save money at Barnes & Noble specifically is to use a Barnes & Noble membership and make sure that you price match online. Now let's get into the reason why we're here. Let's show you the books that I got today. The first book I got is Swimming Lessons by Lily Reinhart. Yes, Lily Reinhart, as in Betty from Riverdale. I wasn't expecting this to be as good as it was when I picked it up. I saw her name and I was like, oh, you know, Lily Reinhart, and she is a queen. I love her. She is like a feminist icon. I love her as an individual. I watch Riverdale. I can't necessarily say I love Riverdale or I think it's a good show, but I would watch Riverdale over and over again if it meant to give this girl as much money as possible because she is an absolute icon. I love Lily Reinhart. Lily Reinhart's book Swimming Lessons goes through the ideals of losing your first love or just going through heartbreak in general, but it also talks about being in love, and then it has a collection of poems about her grandmother and talks about like losing someone but feeling like they're still there. I read this book in an hour. I got this last night and I read it last night. It is phenomenal, and it is just, there's beautiful illustrations inside this book that just bring everything into perspective of what you think she's actually talking about. I absolutely adored this book, and I definitely can find myself reaching back to it and reading a couple poems. I will have a full review up on this someday soon, reading a couple of my favorite poems from the book, and also just talking about the effect that it had on me as a teenager who is currently in love, but also a teenager who has recently lost her grandma, and by recently I mean like 4 years ago, but it still stings a little. The next book I got is Kisses and Croissants, which is about Mia, a girl who moves to France/Paris. She moves to Paris in France, and goes to ballet school there, and she is supposed to be there to focus strictly on ballet, but obviously she falls in love because it's called Kisses and Croissants, and it's a romance that takes place in Paris. Where else would the story have gone? I bought this book because I am a sucker for just cheesy classic romantic comedies or just romance novels in general, and I love the book Anna and the French Kiss, so I will be doing a review of this book in comparison to Anna and the French Kiss and letting you guys know my thoughts. I have not read this one yet, but it is definitely definitely higher up on my TBR. I absolutely love books that are love stories placed in Europe, and so the second I saw this, I went, I have to pick it up. The next book I got is Lost in the Neverwoods by Aidan Thomas. Ever since I heard about this book, I have been anticipating reading it. I am a sucker for retellings of Disney movies, Greek mythology, fairy tales, anything of the sort, and this is in fact a thriller type retelling of Peter Pan, and I love darker retellings of Peter Pan. I obviously love the idea of the lighthearted movie of Peter Pan where there's nothing really dark or scary about it, but if you have seen the show Once Upon a Time, I can already say you'll probably love this because Once Upon a Time features a dark retelling of Peter Pan. The story follows Wendy and her two brothers when they are kidnapped and returned back to their town in Oregon. Wendy does not remember anything that happened to her, but her brothers do. And then all of a sudden, kids start going missing again, and a boy named Peter returns to help them figure out what's happening and how to get the missing children back. I am so excited to read this book, and I absolutely cannot wait to start it, but as you can see, I already have 5 other books on my TBR, not including the ones I already owned, so the second that I finish this, I promise there will be a review. The next book I got was also a very highly anticipated read. It is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I really am interested in reading this book. My friend Ayla read this book. I will link her TikTok down below so you guys can follow her. She read this book so quickly when I went to get my hair done the color that it is right now. She read this book in an entire sitting when she came with me to my appointment. She absolutely loved it, and I'm really excited to read it. It follows 2 sisters named Tella and Scarlett who go through a mystery festival type of thing when one of them goes missing, and they kind of have to find her and solve this mystery. It's a very vague description and I'm not exactly sure what it's about, but when I give my review, I will make sure to do a fully in-depth description with no spoilers to see if you guys would like it. The next book I got is a recommendation from my boyfriend Parker, and it is Michael Vey, the 3rd book, which is Battle of the Emperor. I think that's how you say that, or the Emperor. I just finished Michael Vey 2 last week, and I absolutely am loving this series. This is the only book series my boyfriend Parker has ever read, and so I absolutely love reading it just because it lets me look inside his brain in a different way. I enjoy this very much because it's different than any sci-fi or fantasy book I've ever read. It tells the story of 17 electromagnetic children who were all born within 2 days of each other. Some of them are on the side of those who created them, and the other kids are fighting against them. It is a really interesting story, and it takes a lot of twists and turns that you will never expect. There are 7 books in the series, and once I finish the entire series, I will be giving a review on the full series, which I do with all of my series, is I would like to finish my series to full completion and then give you my insight on all of those. So keep an eye out for the Michael Vey review. It probably won't be for a couple months, but just keep an eye out on it. The last book on my book haul trip I did yesterday was Crave by Tracy Wolff. I have seen this book all over TikTok, and my friend Ayla also read this one, and she told me I needed to read it as quick as I possibly could because she just needed to talk to someone about it. Something I don't like is I don't like these kind of edges. I have another book called The 10,000 Doors of January, which has these same kind of edges. It doesn't turn me off on a book not to read it. It's just something that I don't necessarily prefer compared to just a smooth normal book, but it's okay. So if that does bother you, if you do have a thing with texture, it has those deckled edges, I think is what they're called. But I am very excited to read this. Crave takes place when a girl is sent to a supernatural high school, I think, but she doesn't know that they're supernatural until later in the book. She meets a boy named Jackson and his brother Hudson, and it's basically like a vampire, dragon, werewolf romance kind of story, but I'm very excited to read it, and I will let you guys know once I finish the 3rd book, and hopefully I'll have my review out before the 4th book and decide whether or not I'm going to read Court later this year. Alright guys, that was the damage that I did yesterday at Barnes & Noble and Target, so thank you guys so much for watching. I forgot to mention that Swimming Lessons by Lily Reinhart is a book that I bought at Target, and it was for a cheaper price than it was at Barnes & Noble, which is why I made the decision to buy it there. Every other book featured in the video was bought at Barnes & Noble, so I did only buy one thing at Target, which was very nice. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you guys in my next book video. Comment down any videos you'd like to see in the comments. I am interested in doing rankings of different series. in-depth descriptions of my favorite books that I like to read and full reviews on books I have already read if you'd like to see those. Make sure you follow my book talk down below for shorter videos if you don't have time to watch this full video. I am so excited to see where this channel goes, and I can't wait to see you guys another day. Have a great day. I'll see you later, guys.